morning, everyone. My name is Zhao. I'm from NTNU Mechanical Lab. My supervisor is Professor Jiang Zhang. And today I will give the presentation about the duality of the current boundary on dislocation emission, development of a continuum model. And firstly, I want to mention that this study is supported by the Research Council of Norway and the framework of HIP project. The full name of HIP project is Hydrogen-Induced Degradation of Offshore Skills in Aging Infrastructure, Models for Prevention and Prediction. If you are interested in the development of our project, you are welcome to visit this website. The primary objective of HIP project is to couple the hydrogen breakment mechanisms at different lengths and time scales, and then provide us a mechanism-based integrated assessment approach for the oil and gas industry. And this is the work packages performed in HIP project. I worked on the work package 1 and work package 4. Work package 2 at nano scale. And you can see in this figure, the effect of the boundary is emphasized in this project. So let's move to the motivation why we study the boundary in our research. So usually we think that the green boundary is the entry point for the crack initiation. And in these two figures, you can find that for microscope, the fracture toughness will be severely decreased due to the hydrogen insertion compared with the single crystal. Thus, we can conclude that the insertion of green boundary will truly decrease the fracture toughness. However, there are always some different voices. And in this study, the authors found that if a specimen has a higher fraction of low sigma green boundary, the specimens will show higher fracture resistance. And in contrast, if the specimen has lower fraction of low sigma green boundary, it will show lower fracture resistance. Thus, the conclusion is that the low sigma green boundary will impact the crack propagation. So what's the real law of green boundary? In a most recent study published in Nature Communication last year, the authors studied the dual law of green boundary related with hydrogen breakment. For crack initiation, we can find that about 58% of the single green boundary cracks are along the low sigma green boundaries. It means that the low sigma green boundary are preferential crack initiation sites. However, for the crack propagation, it's actually the multi green boundary crack. We can find it's about 21% of the crack are along the low sigma green boundary, while for the general green boundaries, it's about 79%. So, if a specific green boundary type is crack propagation resistant, we can expect it to occur less frequently in multi green boundary cracks than the one in the microstructure as a whole. So compared to this question, what is the real law of the green boundary under hydrogen-induced cracking? Is it promote the crack initiation or just impact the crack propagation, or just it shows the dual law? The previous studies we have shown didn't provide us theoretical explanation, but the authors have suggested that the plasticity maybe play a key role in explaining it. So in this study, we proposed a continuum model and then validated use molecular dynamics simulations. Then let's move to the model construction for the MD simulations. We designed the correct specimen for both single crystal and bicrystal, and then we inserted the hydrogen atoms in the correct tip region, and then we will observe the emission of dislocations. This figure is something very basic knowledge about the grain boundary of the CSL theory. CSL means the coincidence size lattice. And in this theory, the theta means the misorientation angle, and the phi means the inclination angle. I will not go to details of this theory, but in this study, we designed the sigma phi grain boundaries with different inclination angle phi. And let's move to the results. First, it's the dislocation analysis. And we compared the single crystal specimens and bicrystal specimens both with and without hydrogen. For the specimens without hydrogen, we can observe the emission of the twin partials. And for the specimens with hydrogen, we cannot observe the twin partials. So the conclusion is that the hydrogen insertion will prevent the generation of twinning partials. Because we know that the twinning partials play a very important role in toughening the materials, so we can see that the hydrogen insertion will decrease the material strength. And this is the evolution of dislocation length, and you can also see that the dislocation density is equivalent. And we compared the dislocation density evolution for 3 different specimens, the one without hydrogen and the other 2 with the different hydrogen atoms. And initially we observed that for the specimens with hydrogen, the dislocation density will be lower than the one without hydrogen. However, if the K1 field is applied to a critical value, the mechanisms will transform into the help mechanisms. It means that the specimens with a lot of hydrogen atoms, its dislocation density will be higher than the one without hydrogen. So there is a transformation in this curve. Firstly, it's a traffic jam proposed by Stone and Curtin. And the basic idea of traffic jam is that the hydrogen insertion will prevent the dislocation emission. And then it will be help. Its basic idea is that the insertion of hydrogen atoms will increase the repulsive force between dislocations, and thus the dislocations will pile up and increase the dislocation density. So finally, let's come to the continuum model. And this model is proposed based on the energy balance. The controlling equation is here. And in the left side of the equal signs, it's the work done by the stress applied on the dislocation. And on the right side, it's the energy of the dislocations. The first term of the left side is the stress caused by the applied K1 field, and the second term is the stress due to the hydrogen drag. In the right side, the first 2 terms, it's the self-energy of dislocations, and the third one is the interaction energy between dislocations and grain boundaries. And we should notice that there is a specific sign, a positive and minus here. It reflects the dual role of the grain boundary on the dislocation emission. So let's solve this equation, and we can obtain the critical K1 for the dislocation emission as a function of hydrogen concentration. We can observe that for any specimens, the K1D means the critical K1 for dislocation emission. It will increase with the increasing hydrogen concentration. This blue line is it's a solution for the single crystal, and this green and black line is a solution for the bicrystal with different interaction. And so next step is to validate this model. We performed more than 120 MD simulations to validate these results. And the MD simulations it corresponds to the region marked by the green circle here. And we can observe that the MD simulations predict value of K1D from about 1 to about 1.25. And this is fairly allocated in the region predicted by the continuum model. So it suggests that the proposed model can fairly predict the dislocation behavior. However, we still didn't explain why we use such a specific sign here. It is because that we can see in this figure, this is the shear stress field of the green boundary. We can see that the -1 means a tensile field, and the positive one means a compressive field. If a dislocation is emitted here, it will be attracted by the green boundary, and if it's emitted here, it will be there will be a repulsive interaction between the green boundary and dislocation. And this figure it will explain why we use a specific sign here, and thus this is the duality caused by the green boundary. So let's go to the summary. The first one is very simple. The first one is that a continuum model was developed to capture the anomalous duality caused by green boundary on the dislocation emission. And the second one is a transition from traffic jam to health mechanism were found. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.